Hey guys, welcome to a special birthday edition of Gaming Off the Grid. 20 years ago this week was the birth of everyone's favorite little fair-skinned friend, the Sega Dreamcast. In today's episode, we are going to talk about 5 things that we'll just never forget about you, little feller. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Gonzo. It's an Imperial Porter by Flying Dog.
Alright, you know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss an upload. And sit back, relax, strap on a party hat if you care to, and let's celebrate the 20th birthday of the Sega Dreamcast.
Girl J-La-Baby1 and you're watching my boys Gaming Off the Grid.
Happy 20th birthday, Sega Dreamcast. I cannot believe it's been 20 years. This bad boy was born on 9/9/1999.
First off, what a sweet birthday.
Oh, it was the whole marketing scheme behind it. It was awesome.
That's incredible. And also, dude, you only have one more year till you can drink.
Yeah, maybe we'll slip him a little sippy before he's 21. But we want to talk about things that we'll just never forget about this console. This console holds a near and dear place in my heart, and you've come to love it as well throughout the time that we've had here on the channel. I've always looked at it as very innovative, and I remember fighting tooth and nail with PS2 fans that this console was better, and then it kind of went by the wayside, and I had to give in and get a PlayStation 2.
I don't know which one's better. I know that back in the day, I didn't even know the Dreamcast existed. I remember I went over to a friend's house, and he had the Dreamcast, and I thought it was like a custom homemade repo. I was like, what the hell is this? He's like, it's the Dreamcast, and I'm like, okay, whatever, you're weird.
So with all that being said, we want to talk about some things we're just never going to forget about this beauty. Some are good, some are kind of bad, some are just kind of unique. So one thing in particular that I will never forget is the freaking games. It was the first console that I distinctly remember thinking there is no difference between the arcade games and the ports that are coming to this console. I'll never forget the first time I played Hydro Thunder. I'll never forget the first time I played the Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game. So many, Crazy Taxi is another one that comes to mind. Yes, that's another one that comes to mind. So from that aspect, I remember just thinking the graphics, and there's some games that'll maybe make some people laugh, but like Virtua Tennis is the best tennis game I've ever played still to this day.
Ever?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
That.
And you know, the 2K sports games were so innovative. You know, if you play some of the newer 2K basketball games, they're just eerily similar to the ones we had back on the Dreamcast. So the games, I'll just never forget the games. Now, sometimes people say there's not enough good games on there, but they're the ones that are good. Man, they're just heavy hitters. Like, think about how crazy of a game Jet Grind Radio is.
I was just going to bring up Jet Grind Radio, dude. That game is so freaking sweet.
And unique.
Like, it's so unique.
What else have you played that is like that game?
Nothing. And this came out 9/9/1999.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So the games hold a special place in our heart. We will never forget the games. What's something that jumps out at you that you'll never forget about this
One thing that I'll never forget about you, young boy, is that you're freaking loud. You're a loud boy.
This is true.
It's so weird. Every time I play the Dreamcast, I feel like it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
It is so loud.
So we're fortunate because they are prone to have some issues, and I've been fortunate enough to kind of learn how to fix them a little bit. But all 3 of the ones that we have, it just sounds like somebody's motorboat.
Well, if you're playing Hydro Thunder, it's like a perfect sound effect. It makes you feel like you're actually playing Hydro Thunder. Yeah. So it's kind of cool, but dude, you're loud.
So another thing that I will never forget is the online connectivity. Now, where that is went, and obviously we're gaming off the grid, so we don't do a lot of online gaming, but to my knowledge, it's the first home console that brought that online connectivity to your living room. And, you know, PC gamers had that up until this point, but this thing is literally like a PC in a console's clothing. It's a wolf in a sheep's clothing, so to say.
Well, it says right here, compatible with the Windows CE, so that's pretty sweet.
It had a web browser. The only thing that I would say pains me is I didn't get to enjoy it online with my friends. I was playing it online with random people because I didn't have any friends that had the Sega Dreamcast. I had one other friend and he didn't have online.
I feel like most people didn't have one.
Yeah, so that was the one drawback, but it's just really cool. The modem on the side, I mean, and I believe the first like online sports games happened on the Dreamcast.
Dude, you started freaking revolutions.
Yeah.
One thing that I'll never forget about the Dreamcast is the controller cord. On the controller, what were they thinking? I don't get it. It comes out the bottom and it's very unique, And it's like, okay, good for you taking it outside of the box, but it's kind of annoying.
It is, and you know, it's not that long of a controller cord, but I will say this about the controller, I do appreciate the form factor. Maybe it's because I played it so much, but
it does have a cool grip.
it does have a pretty cool grip, and I think it kind of laid the way for, like, you know how the triggers compress, right? Those compressible triggers are very much like the triggers that we then seen on the 360.
Ooh, I wonder what came first.
Yeah, the chicken or the freaking egg. Oh, I'm sorry, your shell's white. Oops. But no, I do think it was innovative in that factor. But yeah, that is something that has always been like, why? Another thing that I'll never forget about the Dreamcast is the memory card.
Oh my gosh, I think it's the only console that has ever done anything like that, because it's like, you plug it into the controller first off, so that's really cool.
Yep.
And then it has like a screen, and you can like play things on the memory card, you can go through your files. It's super innovative, it's super cool.
Yeah, and it was, at the time, I remember thinking it didn't have as much functionality as I thought it was going to. But it kind of almost reminded me of like a Digipet. Do you remember those things?
Yeah.
So like about the size of that. And I believe you could connect two of them together to do file transfers and stuff. Now we're in a day and age where everything saves on the hard drive. But if you can take yourself back to when everybody had memory cards and you could just like, you know, do something like that. There was some little games on there, like you mentioned. And I always loved getting a new Dreamcast game and seeing what the graphic on the front of the memory card was going to be while that game was playing, right? So it had a special little deal.
That's really cool. I've never experienced that. That's awesome.
So it was always a lot of fun, and I'll just never forget that aspect of it. And just overall, the console was just such an innovator, and I believe the Xbox, the original OG Xbox, owes most of its success to the groundwork that this console paved. And I think a lot of our modern consoles are still kind of using things that the Dreamcast brought to fruition. A lot of them are more built like PCs now, and that was a pretty new thing back then.
They're paying homage to the Dreamcast.
Well, let's do a toast here to the Sega Dreamcast turning 20 years old.
Cheers.
And let's talk about the Imperial Porter. It's called Gonzo by Flying
Gonzo.
Dog.
This is a thick, chewy beer.
Yes.
It's motor oil. That's what this makes me think of, and it's very enjoyable, has very good flavor, but it is a thick
It's
guy.
rich. It is rich. Very chocolate laden, a lot of coffee notes. I'm getting a little bit of sweetness coming through on the finish. Maybe some like toffee or caramel kind of in there.
Oh yeah.
It's a very malty beer. It definitely doesn't taste, you know, like high on the alcohol content, but you know, we've used the word chewy on here a lot, and we've had even some people, what's chewy mean? This beer's chewy.
Yeah, this is a chewy beer.
So it just lingers in the mouth. You just kind of chew on it for minutes after you swallow the beer. This was another beer given to us by BK. He's on a heater, folks, and this beer is awesome. And Flying Dog Brewery they're just badass.
Yeah, this is the second or third one we've done by them, and they're all like, they know how to make good beer.
They do not disappoint. And speaking of disappoint, how the hell has 20 years went by since the Dreamcast came out?
It's insane.
Just like that.
It's
I remember
insane.
getting the console new.
I feel like a parent watching my kid go off to kindergarten.
Yeah,
now,
it's so crazy. Time just flies, and before we know it, you know, the PS2 is going to be 20 years old. Like, I can't even.
I'm going to be 20 years old. It's going to be crazy.
We would love to know in the comment section below, what are some things that you'll never forget about the Dreamcast? And also, what's your favorite Dreamcast game? And, you know, not to put you on the spot, but shoot.
Oh my god, there's so many good ones. I think I'm gonna have to go with House of the Dead 2. That game is just awesome. I love the series, and I love that game on the Dreamcast.
It's a good pull, and it's an excellent arcade port.
Oh
it
yeah,
really
it's
is.
fantastic.
Works very well. I'm gonna have to go with Jet Grind Radio.
Dude, I knew you were gonna pick
I just love that game, and for some reason, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say this. That game, I think, paved the way for what we see now with Splatoon. Something about that. I think I have a hard time thinking the people who developed Splatoon weren't thinking in the back of their minds about a little Jet Grind Radio. But this is a ton of fun. We are getting old over here, folks. At least I am. I remember the day the Dreamcast came out. Happy 20th to the Dreamcast, to all the Dreamcast fans, and let's talk about it in the comments section. We always appreciate you tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Keep gaming, keep drinking. We'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Off the Grid. The Sega Dreamcast. Such an innovative console.
Yeah, it was in the womb for 9 months, and it came 999999. That's insane.
You had too many nines.
99999999.
But it's 1999.
Oh shit.
9,000. And was the birth of our favorite little fair-skinned friend, the Sega Dreamcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about 5 things we will never forget about you. 20 years ago, sorry.
Mark.
Yeah, Mark. Who the hell's Mark anyways? Okay.